Hello, good afternoon on the Afro Diamond Show. It is another Diamond Thursday, and it's a special one because today we have someone who is very special and is not from this continent. So we will be connecting with the world today, and this is a show that you don't want to miss right here on Lobatse Online Radio. My name is Leano Lee Kaswani, or you can just call me Lee Harvey, the Diamond Infrared, and like we always promise you, every Thursday we celebrate someone, and today we are celebrating someone who's not in this country, someone who's not in this continent, and we are celebrating someone who's not even African. Imagine we are celebrating someone who is Chinese Australian, who is doing the most, who is contributing immensely to the Afro community. So he's doing a lot of great community work there, and we are also going to say to her that you deserve the flowers. So don't go away. We will be catching that interview with Sarah Chong, and let's wait and see and hear what Sarah Chong has for us, and let's learn and listen on how they do it that side.
Lobatse Online Radio, where talent lives.
So, like I promised you, my listeners, will be joining now Sarah Chong from Australia right now. Is the one who's going to be our guest for today. So I'm going to be inviting her in to introduce herself. Miss Sarah Chong, you kindly introduce yourself, your name, and yeah, and where you from?
Sure. So thank you for having me. As mentioned before, my name is Sarah Chong. I live in Australia in a state called Victoria. I am currently working for an organization called Settlement Services International as a head of the program that supports asylum seekers. But when I'm not doing that there, I do run my own organization called Femme Solidarity Women's Empowerment. And I also do work very closely with a lot of African communities here in Victoria, Australia. My friends and my colleagues would describe me as someone who is definitely a friend, a mentor, an advocate, very much a feminist, a community leader, an ally, and very much a disruptor.
A disruptor, yeah, do I like that one? So So tell us about your. I know that you're doing some community service also. Like, would you mind telling us about your journey of your community service that you're doing,
Sure. So I think for
and
myself,
also
mm,
what inspired it?
sure, sure. So I think for
Yeah.
myself there, like I don't know, it's like it's always been a part of me. So I think the pinpoint moment was probably when I was at university. So when I was at university, I was studying my master's in international relations, and I came across this lovely man who was from Sudan. Actually, he was from Darfur. So at that time, like there was a war going on in Darfur, so he was talking about everything that he had gone through and how he managed to escape and come to Australia. So together, like, and myself and him and a few of us, like, at the university, we started our own organization. It's quite fun. We called it the Darfur
Okay.
Human Rights and Advocacy, and we tried a lot there. So we did a lot of fundraising. We did like, talks on what was happening in Darfur, all eyes on Sudan and so forth there. So I would say really like, it I think like, probably the starting point was university, but I had always been that kind of person who would write letters for Amnesty International, like try and adopt like environmental friendly practices because I heard a talk from Greenpeace, So I think, things like that there's probably where the journey started. And in terms of what inspires me, I really think that, for me personally, it's really about like what it means to me, like how much it sparks joy. Like people are always like, "Oh my God, like are you crazy? Like you work full time and then you do all this stuff in the community." But really, the things I do in the community, like they spark so much joy in me. Like I have so much fun and it's such a great experience. I can't really, the words are not adequate enough to describe like how happy it makes me and how much I get out of it.
All right. So, would you like to share with us like how the Darfur project went? Because I remember the time when Darfur was really like under attack there. There was a
Mm.
whole lot of painful things going there. And how did the project end actually?
Well, it's actually kind of like still going after, when was that? I think it's almost been like 20 years, maybe.
Yeah, something like
So, yeah, I mean, we started at a university there. I mean, now there's not much focus on Darfur. Now it's like South Sudan and Congo, and Cameroon, I think, a little bit too. But in terms of like how it eventuated and like what happened in the end there, the friend of ours ended up representing himself at the UN, to talk about like, what was happening in Darfur. And then here in Australia, they ended up establishing a Darfur Action Network there that was later taken over by Oxfam.
All right. So anything that was achieved there that you can see that, but this is how far our project went, and these are the wins that we got along the way.
Yeah, well, the wins that we got is that, like, there were eyes on Darfur, which people sort
Okay.
of feel like, oh, well, that's not really anything, but it is because Australia, I don't know if you've looked at the world map there, but we're very far away from everybody there. So people
True,
here
true.
tend not to understand or know very much about what's going on outside of Australia, especially in Africa. So people have this idea that Africa, like, is a very barren place and so forth there. But they also don't really understand that certain countries do experience war, and that's how we have like asylum seekers and refugees, and how, like, as a country that is prosperous and peaceful, that we owe it as our humanitarian, like, intervention to support these people. So I feel like, that's something that we achieved from this project there, and our legacy lives on there because from that project there, it's not only the eyes on Darfur, but now it's kind of like the legacy that we leave behind is like it's eyes on Congo, eyes on South Sudan there, eyes on Iran and so forth there. Like we never actually stopped. And then, as a result of that project, I have two lifelong friends. So,
Wow.
yeah.
I also like to know now your take on volunteerism about the work that you've been doing. Like, what's your take on volunteerism, and what are the one tend to benefit from volunteering?
There is so much to benefit, and I think people underestimate the power of volunteering. So I consistently and have always like volunteered. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. I think I'm always involved in something. At this point there, like I am involved with an African Women and Families Network. I'm involved with like media and communications through Emerging Brown Africa. I'm also involved in another group called Regional Runways that aims to support like, women, especially that are living out in the regional country areas of Victoria. I am also a international Peace Women's ambassador as well. So I do a lot of volunteer work there. Not because like, I have something to gain from it there or like, I want to make myself popular. It is very much about, the experience of supporting others there and looking at building your networks there and gaining real insight into what does it actually mean to work in the community? Like, what is it? What do you like, can take away for international community development there? The experience that you get through volunteering there, you can't get that experience just by doing your degree or reading textbooks and so forth there. It's nothing like that there. Volunteering actually teaches you, things that cannot be taught in school. It teaches you resilience. It teaches you innovation there. It teaches you to think quickly on your feet there and how you can respond in like, potential crisis situations as well. And of course, not to mention, like it helps you build that network of a community that can support you as well. And then like, you've got people that have shared values and you can do projects together.
All right. I hear you talking about projects, and you've given us like a list of people that you're already engaged with. So, is there like some projects that you can give us insights of that you're engaged in, so that we can get a clear picture of what exactly you have done so far?
Uh, I've done a lot. It's like, oh, where do
Okay,
I start?
you can
So,
just share with us and then we can
you know,
remember.
yeah, I mean, I've done everything from women's leadership, especially because like, my focus is very much on like women's empowerment. I've done peace building, gender-based violence prevention, cultural specific days, and most recently I was like working alongside the African Women and Families Network in celebrating and promoting the Day of the African Child. So, apart from it being a very significant day, we wanted the event there to really not just draw in parents there, but also celebrate children, and talk to them about what their rights are and so forth there, and how important it is, for them to like, have these rights there, and what had happened with their forefathers and the legacy that they built for the children today there. So I think, from that event there, like it was great because not only did the children get to like, be in the spotlight and learn like, what had happened in the Soweto uprising there, but also for parents, particularly in the context of living here in Australia, like what does that mean? We talked a lot about like, how do we raise like strong children here in a multicultural society? So we touched on the overrepresentation of African like, ethnicities within the youth justice system there. We talked about racism, and how that impacts children. We talked about the systemic barriers, like, in terms of education, where, parents are grappling with, like, their young children being at school. They're trying to hold on to their culture, but then the children are at school and, like, when they come home, it's like two different worlds there. So I think out of this project there, we really got people to start thinking outside, like, the square. We challenged the status quo there. And really, we sort of said, it's not just good being seen, but we need to be heard too there. And this is what we can do collectively together.
All right. And I know there's a project that you're also doing in Kenya. You want to
Yeah.
talk about it? A bit? Yeah.
Kenya is an amazing place. Like it's been my home for the last like 16 years. I currently work with a group of women who are HIV AIDS infected and their affected families. My role there is really as a conversation starter, also like, someone who looks at ways to promote the agency of the women. I think a lot of the times, like, when Western foreigners, like, attend like countries such as Kenya, there is that like symptom of like, oh, I have to save these people. And actually, these people don't need saving in that regard. What they need is someone to come and talk to them and say, what skills do you have? What skills do you need? And what skills, like, can you use, that you already have there to support yourself there? You don't need, like, someone like myself there to come in to save you. You can save yourself, so it's about building that independence, building their network. I know the women laugh at me a lot there because even though I'm a foreigner, I have connected them with other Kenyan people, for business. For example, like there's a very big tea company called Melvin's Tea. So I had a meeting with them
Okay.
there about something else there, and I said, "Oh, tell me about your distributors there. Like, who do you hire?" And they said, "Oh, we look at hiring people like, from the general public and so forth there." And so I thought about one of my mums, who runs a tailoring business. And I thought, actually, she would make a very good distributor. Not just because, like, she's such a lovely woman there, but also strategically thinking there, she has a shop that everybody stops by because it's so close to the bus stop there. So I said, oh, what kind of person are you looking for? Do you have anybody in Kibera and so forth? And they said, oh, no, not really there, but we do have an agent distributor who's around in the area. And I said, oh, okay, like, can we meet and can she come to see my mom and so forth there? So we organized all that there. I got her number and I told, like, my mom, give this lady a call, like, potentially there could be business for you. It was so funny. So she called the lady and so forth there. And then, like, she invited the lady over to her house there. And she had to go and pick the woman up there. So it's quite funny. The woman was like, oh, I've never been to the slums and so forth there. So when the woman came, we were having lunch, we were celebrating my birthday there, and the woman was just, she was so confused as to A, how I ended up there in the slums, and B, the fact that I already had such a close relationship with these women that we're all just like laughing and so forth there. So I think the point that I'm making is that sometimes, like, these projects there are not something that is structured, like, not something that is set in concrete there, but sometimes it is about, looking at who you're surrounding yourself with there and how you can have innovative ways there of building the capacity of like communities. And that's very much like, my aim for my project in Kenya.
All right. No, that's very true. That's very true. And let's talk about the challenges. What challenges do you encounter? Because everything that you're doing it seems to be going the right way for you. Do you have any challenges though?
I too like it's interesting. I mean, like I myself am not like, an Anglo-Saxon Australian. Like I am Chinese, but born here in Australia. So there are lots of stereotypes and misconceptions of what I'm supposed to be like there. So I have encountered like, I guess like episodes of like racism and discrimination there. Even working in the community, like I've had, other ethnic people like really question me about like, what's your real name? Like, why do you sound like, that white person over there? How do you live in Australia and so forth there? So I think that like navigating that cultural space and living in between like three different cultures there can be a challenge itself there. But I think for me, like working in the community, the biggest challenge is very much like time and resourcing. Like when you work with the community, like it's difficult sometimes there because when you get funding, they're like, it's only for a specific time frame there. But in reality, when you're working with the community, you can't sort of be like, okay, we have 6 months to do something there. It's impossible. Like, working with the community is like looking at how long is a piece of string. It can go on and on and on and on and on. And, these are people lives that we're looking at there. Like, people can't suddenly change overnight there. It takes a lot of time. And I think that's the biggest thing there, and also resourcing. Like, there's never enough funding to do what we want, and also never enough people, which I find is like really difficult there because sometimes people want to commit, people want to give their time, but at the same time, then they've got like their livelihoods and like they have to work and so forth there. Like, I feel like I'm in quite a privileged position because yes, I'm working, I earn enough to support myself there that I can also afford to take some time to do all this like volunteer work.
All right. So before we close, Sarah, do you have anything lined up though for this year activities that maybe we can follow Sarah on and also like be part of what you're doing, learn more from you? Like what have you have lined up?
Mm, Still in planning, but like, we are looking at how do we amplify like women's leadership there, particularly for women at grassroots level. So that's something that we're looking at doing, and we're aiming to be able to tie this in there with the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women next year, so 2027 there, where leadership is the theme there because especially for women from multicultural backgrounds like myself, there it is very hard to break into leadership. I myself have spent many, many years there, like building up my networks, building my experience and so forth there, just to crack that invisible ceiling there for leadership there. And I am someone who is highly educated, like English is my first language and so forth there. So if I have struggled, my thought goes to women who have recently migrated to Australia, women whose English is not their first language, women who have not had an opportunity for any kind of formal education. So, really, we want to develop something that is a wraparound for these women, to be able to support them and help them rise up there and be leaders. And for, like, people to sort of realize that we don't need saving. What we need are real opportunities there to have leadership there and to really have leadership that is built on a, outside the square. So like, I think for us there, it's like, really talking to these women and like encouraging them, saying like, to define yourself a leader, it's not that like, you have to work at a specific organization there and be in like, a leadership position. Yes, that's one part there, but you can be a leader in your family, a leader in the community there, a leader or a specialist there in an area that is your passion. So we really want to like, look at, how we can elevate women there to that realization. And in terms of like if people want to be involved, that'd be really great. If you live here in Australia, if you live in Victoria, like yeah, like you can come and help us, maybe like help us run some workshops there, donate some time of your skills and so forth there. Right now, like, we probably need like, someone who's really good at communication. We need someone to look at like, our social media and help keep that regular. If they're overseas, like, definitely we can look at doing something online together. It just depends on like what their
Of
interests are.
course.
We are always open for anything.
All right. So, do you mind leaving us with your contacts there for social media, for maybe
Yeah.
your email address, and your website if you have?
Yeah, so our website is under construction.
All
We're a bit
right.
behind, but you can follow
All
us on
right. Give us a
Instagram.
social media then.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
of course, like, you can follow me personally on LinkedIn, under
Okay.
Sarah Chong. I think there's probably lots of Sarah Chongs there, but I will share the links with yourself, and then you can share that
All
with
right.
listeners who, may get in touch with you there because they want to chat
All right.
further with myself.
All right. Not a problem. Miss Sarah, we are really grateful for the conversation that you just had with us. But like we had earlier on sent you a little gift to say that all the efforts that you've been saying, we recognize you for it, especially your contribution to the Afro community is not just in vain. And we just wanted our listeners to also have this privilege to actually hear it from your side. But that is our gift to you to say that we recognize you as our community diamond, you know. And so uh, that is the flowers that we are giving to you from us, Robots Online Radio and the Afro Diamonds Show. We are saying that the work that you're doing, keep on keeping on, and please don't stop, because we need people like you for us to grow, like you've been saying, in leadership and all the other avenues that you've talked about. So we recognize you this side, and we wish you all the best in your future endeavors, and we wish to connect with you again this time around, maybe to have a project together, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, look, for me, it's a real privilege to be invited on this show, and I think especially because like of my ethnic background, like I would dare say that I'm probably the first Chinese Australian that you've had on your show. So like I think that's
Thank you.
it's a big thing for me, and I feel incredibly like privileged, and I'm like beyond like happy, like, to be able to contribute to such a great program, and I hope that, the listeners will have something great to take away from the show. And really, just thanks for having me. And the gift was remarkable. Like, I can't begin to describe like how it made me feel. Like I was so happy to receive it. It's so lovely to be thought of in that way by yourselves.
Thank you very, very much, Sarah, and enjoy your day, enjoy your week, and enjoy your weekend. And I hope to catch with you again.
You will. Thank you.
That was Sarah Chong. That was Sarah Chong, and you heard how she is doing it for the African community. So this is why we say that Afro Diamonds is for everyone who actually contributes to the growth of the Afro community. Wherever you are, we celebrate you and we recognize you as our Afro Diamond. So Sarah Chong was the diamond for this Thursday, and we still encourage you to also do the same, learn from these people, and also make a positive impact in your different communities. Also, if you know someone who's doing the same impact, online radio, just send us, forward us the impact story so that we can also celebrate them and give them the flowers while they can still smell them, and give them courage, man, to keep on growing us as the Afro community, because we need to keep on growing, and we can only grow in numbers. So even you out there at home, be encouraged to also take a stand, do something for the community, man. Let us one day see ourselves when we celebrate that you are the community diamond of the Thursday because we cannot do tiro really no see tota. We need everyone, all hands on deck. So let us also rise to the occasion, man. Let us do something for our community. Let us be those community diamonds. So until next Thursday, this is Lobato Online Radio, and my name is LEANO KGASWANE. You can just call me the Diamond Infrared, and this is Lobato Online Radio, where talent lives. And find us on Facebook, man. Like our page, follow us, share our page, tell people to also come on board and see what we do every Thursday here, and how we celebrate our people, and also learn and be encouraged, and also be part of the movement, what we are taking communities forward. This is it. Repusha BW, Repusha Africa, one community, Repusha the diaspora. We push the world out there. We have to be one community, because we can only be strong together. So we need each other. Till we meet next Thursday, come back, because I need you next week, Thursday. Bye bye.
Lobatse Online Radio, where talent lives.